Welcome back, everyone. This is Sons of Neptune podcast, episode 3. We're going to be a little bit lighter this week. I'm joined by Exalted, formerly Deep Six. We had a little bit of a revival as a server, a little bit of a transformation. The Christians of the server did not want any of us participating in non-Christian idolatry. They got real stick up their asses about it. We have invaders, we have hats subverting us. They seem to only care about their desert religion, which is honestly very hat-like of them. We kicked them all from the server because that's all you can do with people like that. If they want to subvert and they want to try to change the way we do things, they're just not allowed here. So we're still friendly with a lot of them. They run some cool accounts that we support here and there, but they've been really culty about even liking our stuff because they don't want to seem like they're pagan sympathizers to their followers. That's a direct quote, by the way. But the server and everything, Sons of Neptune is going to be the brand that I'm going to keep on the non-group page. I'm going to basically have my own little politogram, and then the group politogram is now going to be known as Nova Roman Revival. Our militia project will be known as the Nova Roman Corps. And as we've said, the property that we're going to work to in the next 10 years, we're going to call that Olympus Ranch. The new requirement for the server is no longer Testament to the Trident. You pick a patron god and you worship how you want. That can be Hellenist. I think we're working on doing anything Indo-European, so eventually I wouldn't mind doing Norse gods and stuff like that too. Probably going to do different properties for that, but I wouldn't mind at least being allies with them because they're not as big of culty cunts as, say, the Christ followers. But I'm here. I'm your host, Noggle. I'm with Exalted. Biggest news of the week, though, we got to talk about the assassination attempt. Exalted, thoughts on the assassination attempt?
Just plain and simple, it's crazy. Like, I know people have been talking about, wanting to kill Trump for a while, but I never thought somebody would actually try and do it.
Yeah, and it's again like we have an idea in the shooter. He's an incel. He's 20 years old. He's part Jewish. Um, Personally, as much as
Was.
I'd like to say he's a Mossad plant because he was in a BlackRock ad and he's part Jewish. Um, Mossad, obviously, for all of you who are new to this, that's the Israeli CIA. They're known for taking out several leaders and political opponents that don't follow their will. Um, I don't necessarily know if it's that. I think it's some confused incel kid who got in way over his head because the media is poisoning our brains. And when your brain gets poisoned like that, you do things that are out of character. And with the high amount of schizophrenia in the population of the hats, I think there's a chance that there's probably some mental illness there, more than likely. So I don't think it's some grand conspiracy like people think. I know people are saying, oh, he got shot in the ear and it looked like a BB gun. But if you hear the first-hand accounts, it sounds like the guy who got domed and his brain matter was everywhere. It sounds like that was the same bullet that hit Trump. So if you're having a bullet go through somebody's skull and spin and spiral through that and then hit his ear, it's going to be more like it was in the video. It's going to be slowed down the way you can actually see it in the video. Like, everything scientifically lines up that way for me. I don't know. Do you buy into any of these conspiracies? Do you support the official narrative? We're willing to talk about anything here, as long as it's pro-European and not fucking liberal garbage.
Well, I don't think. I never bought the whole, oh, it was staged, because, well, why would he voluntarily get shot with anything for that matter? That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I think he's too much of a narcissist to like let himself get shot. That was the first thing I said when people, because like I watched it with some people, like live when it was happening, because I had it on my phone. I was somewhere I didn't want to be, had it on my phone, and one of them was like, "Yeah, it looks like it's clearly staged to me," and I'm like, "I don't think so. It doesn't work with Trump's personality. He's too much of a fucking egotist."
Yeah. And the way I see it, like, now, it's going to be a landslide. If not, Trump is winning in November. I think that's pretty clear to everybody now. He's not losing.
Yeah, he's gonna get the most votes at the battle box, as Biden said.
Yeah.
Did you see
Dude,
that? It
he's
just came out like a half hour ago.
Yeah, like, Biden is such a fucking idiot.
Yeah, it's fucking embarrassing at this point. Like, I don't know what we need here. Like, a lot of people are talking Caesar Augustus parallels to Trump and Barron. Like, I would like to see Trump, maybe not Project 2025 because it's very like Christ cucky, but I want to see some kind of Project 25 esque like movement with Trump where he says we're not doing this fucking subversive media because democracy doesn't work when you have one segment of the population who has all of the money and all of the media and basically picks the candidate through how they air TV shit. Like it's at this point it's not fair. It really isn't.
Yeah,
It's not a free and fair election if you have a 2% minority of the population controlling and funding all the media. Like it's past that. Like and people are seeing that. That's why certain I don't want to say phobias or isms because I don't think people are scared of them. People are just fed up of hats subverting people in their country and hats genociding people in other countries that they claim are their own. And I think we're waking up to that. I think it's good to see. Um, I'm not hoping for anything violent. Like I hope everything's peacefully solved. I hope um, that population just goes back to their own fucking people. Like I don't understand this fucking 21st century ideology where I don't want to be with my own people. I want to come to America because they have porn, rap music, and fucking McDonald's. Like, I don't understand that. I'm very prideful in terms of what is mine and what I own and what I have, and I try to make it as good as possible. I'm not like this person who goes, shit, this is just where I sleep. I'm gonna go fuck up everywhere else. Like, I've never
yeah.
understood that. Like, what about you?
Well, for me, I think some they have good intentions because I know some people that have come from all over, and they their whole idea because they see all over media that America it's the place of place to be, the land of opportunity where anybody can make it big, and they just want to provide for their family, which I totally get, but. It, I don't want to say it seems to have kind of like gotten lost because now I don't know.
Well, I mean, it has. Like, you have people who created shitty countries who now have come here, like from third world countries, and now we're a third world country. Like, you know, some of its parts in terms of like philosophy. Like, if you're a
Sorry, say
sum of
that again.
shitty, if you're a sum of shitty parts, you're a shitty whole. Like, a whole is just a
Yeah,
sum of its parts. So, like, if let's say Southeast Asians come here and you have societies where literally train derailments due to people shitting on the train tracks are a fucking common occurrence. They come here, they fucking take over areas of the country and those areas of the country turn to shit. Like there's a fucking trend there and like it's unfortunate to say but we have to be realist about it. Like we come we come from mixed backgrounds, but at the end of the day, we're both European like in our hearts and in our blood. And
yeah,
even though we might have some other stuff in there, that's what we identify with and that's what we want and that's how our brains think and that is our culture. Like there's not a single person in America, like most of it being Irish German mix. Like those are very different people. You have the fucking sing-songy, I get into bar fights, leprechauns, and you have the stoic why do you make jokes in front of me? Fuck you. Like Germans. Like they're two different fucking cultures. One's very like mathematical and objective and cold, and the other one's very like fun loving and fighting. Like
yeah,
the, everyone's a fucking mix here. Like we're not gonna be one of these channels that's trying to say like, oh, you need to be like 99% white or you're not with us. Like that's done. Like there's like 4% of the population. We're not gonna win that way. And people that are sticking to that ideology, I don't understand it. Like I understand it's not all contact or content of character. Like there is certain cultural components to it. Like if you grow up in a society where you shit in the street and wipe your ass with your hand, you're just not going to adapt to civilized society ever. Like it's a sad thing, but it's true. I wish they could, but at the end of the day, if we set an example for them with some kind of ideal society, instead of coming here, they can just copy us. I mean, China does it with everything that we do. They fucking copy our patents and look at them. Like,
yeah,
I wish other countries would just get it. And like they don't let anybody in. Not that anybody's trying to go in there, but they're very strict about people going in there. Like why are the countries that are bringing people to our country so strict about us immigrating there? Like no one talks about that.
yeah. No, I never got that. Like, I'm trying to understand. Like, I want to say I kind of get it, but I really don't. If that makes sense. Like, if they're gonna make it impossible, we need to make it impossible too.
I'm very expansionist in terms of my border policy. Like, I think the U.S., like, due to Mexico obviously sending people in droves, needs to just be like, look, you guys, your government, you're not doing well. The cartels have more money than you. We will fucking Louisiana purchase your northern border. We will add that land to us, and we will slowly let these people in, like, through land, through our borders, put our police through there, start out maybe send National Guard in there until we establish civilized society. And then as we civilize it, we can keep moving down. Like, I'm very expansionist. I think that's better, and I think we need to stop acting like that's not the better option. Letting them into
Yeah.
our limited borders. And this is something that leftists are very cognitive of too, because they have the whole climate change, limited resources mindset. Like, if you're gonna have the whole like the Earth is dying, we have too many people, argument, I don't understand how you're pro immigration. Like, I really don't. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pro immigration in terms of like I think people should be allowed into the empire of America, but I think we need to bargain with the other countries for this.
Yeah. 100%.
But yeah, like I would be totally pro expanding the border. Not to go off on a tangent, but um, main topic of today that I want to get into is people are critiquing the police and military and Secret Service response to the Trump shooting thing. And I want to go over standing operating procedures, the concept of it, what I think went wrong with the shooting, and how I want to implement it here. Do you know
Yeah.
anything about standard operating procedures coming from a non
And
like military, Fed, law enforcement background?
absolutely not.
Okay. So standard operating procedures are the way that paramilitary organizations govern themselves. It's basically the if then procedures of an organized bureaucracy. So standard operating procedure is if this thing happens, we do this. So the weakness, I think, of the whole Trump situation and just a law enforcement critique over the country is during COVID and George Floyd, there was mass retirements within the industry, and I think this caused a giant vacuum in terms of experience. And you'll notice this too. Everyone there is young as shit. Like if I think of Secret Service agents, I'm thinking of Clint Eastwood in The Line of Fire. I'm thinking
Yeah.
of like older guys that are experienced, whether they're retired cops or just FBI agents that have 20 years on the job. Like, I'm thinking of the best dudes who are probably in their 40s who are like 6'2", and like, yes,
Yeah.
there were some physical specimens there. There were obviously not some physical specimens there. Some people are critiquing the female there. I'm not getting it into that. I'm not going to critique people in service jobs. It was a rule on the old server. It's not a rule here. I might make it a rule here, but I don't really like limiting speech as much. I'm not pro free speech at all, but that's something I want people to be able to critique on because governments can be tyrannical. So I don't want to open it up
Yeah.
to ban tyranny talk. But yeah, no, I don't think that was the problem. I think the problem is everyone there has never been in a situation like that, and they're not properly trained because everyone is new.
Yeah. They all look not that much older than me.
Yeah, they're all in their 20s, if not early 30s. And the sniper, I think, did a good job. Like, if you look at him, he acquires the target and pow. We don't know how this guy got up there. There's a chance that he scaled the building in 7 seconds, laid down in 3 seconds, acquired a target in the next 10 seconds, and shot within a second. You're talking about like 12 seconds there. And this guy reacted in three. So you're talking about maybe 9 seconds this dude didn't say anything. Tell me right now, whoever is critiquing this, that you're totally aware at your job. I'm not even going to say in public because I know you're not. Tell me that you're totally aware at your job, and you see everything, and there's no 10 seconds where you just zone out at all. Like, our attention spans are fucking fried because of these fucking cell phones. This dude reacted in like 3 seconds when he saw it. And he saw it in less than 10. I can almost guarantee it. The
Yeah.
video
From
looks
what
bad because. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, from what I heard, he saw the guy climb up there, but somebody gave him the order to stand down. It's like it kind of makes you wonder what the fuck is going on.
See, there's the guy that has been in an interview that said there's people on the roof, yada yada. I have no idea if that person on the roof was the same person as the shooter, and people need to stop looking at that. Like,
Yeah,
when there's Secret Service in a town, there's fucking people on every roof. And if their communications, where we're the standard operating procedure, their communications and their SOP in terms of comm channels is not to check in every 5 minutes and not to do location checks, they're not gonna fucking know where anybody's at. And that I think was the issue here. I think it was a communication error, as most things are today.
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But yeah, some standard operating procedures I want to get into. Um, it's gonna be. I don't even want to say it's a dry topic. I think some people might find it dry. I think it's fascinating because it's very like how to objectively break down communication and make things like, you know how like you see SEAL Team 6 move and it's like the most fluent shit you've ever seen possible,
Yeah.
and you know how they literally don't even have to talk on the radio.
Yeah.
That's SOP. That's entirely SOP. So if anybody's not interested in this topic before you click off, that's what this is. But no, it's I want to just get based off of what you heard from like a virginal ear perspective of it. What do you think could be some key aspects in terms of SOP, in terms of communication and maybe dress and other things like that? Like, what do you think is important based on what you've heard so far?
Like from the rally yesterday, like or just like what we're talking about today.
No, completely in
Sure.
general. Like standard operating procedures, like it can be about the rally and stuff, but in terms of like paramilitary tactics, what do you think like from a I want your perspective because you have no experience and you have a virginal ear on this, just so we can look at probably the failings of what happened yesterday and we can try to give motivation to people who maybe want to hear change, maybe want to hear how to do things better, or just people that are out there starting their own shit and don't want things to go wrong like this went wrong. Like, there's a lot of people out there starting militias, whether it's prepper types or other types, and I want them to be able to succeed with what we're talking about today if they're listening to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've always communication. It's like regular check-ins. Like for me, like at past jobs, like for it to be fluent, regular check-ins, you gotta know who you're working with. You gotta. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the
No,
right wording
that's
with
I'm gonna
this.
go right after that, dude. Like, it's knowing people you work with is a big thing. Like, I guarantee you, this Secret Service team, like with how these guys operate and how they had local jurisdictions there and other people, the people working this event have never worked together. Because the guys in the gray, they were state troopers. The guys in the black with the police vests, I'm fairly certain they were Secret Service snipers. And then the people in the suits, especially the women, they're close quarter detail. They surround the president so people can't run at him with a knife or a handgun. I
Yeah.
guarantee you these people don't fucking work together constantly. So like if one person has a problem that's in a different unit, I don't think they're properly communicating. Like again, it's this is what it boils down to. It's SOP is common sense, writing down what you have to do to have common sense in an orchestrated manner. Like, assume people don't have common sense and create a set of operating procedures to where it gives them the same common sense. That's really the basis of it. And I think just off of your brief analysis there with knowing who you work with and running that off of that is more than enough common sense than a lot of people have.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Again, I'm gonna have you expand more before I go into my steamrolling. I know better, yada 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 shit. Because again, this is my topic. When we get to something you're more knowledgeable on, I'm sure you're gonna do this to me too. It's how a successful group runs. You have the
Yeah.
person with experience talk about things, but I want to hear your ideas, uncorrupted by mine first. So, off of like the rest of like more context here, I gave you some feedback on your ideas. Let's just say like militia wise. So like a lot of militias here. We eventually want to start one up. Just get people trained, get people safe. fuck, man, with all these shootings, if we could at least like train guys in our area to to carry tourniquets and to know how to fucking use them, you save lives that way. That's just the minimum
Yeah.
thing we can do just off of that. But in terms of standard operating procedure, if you're training with a group of guys, let's say you're all carrying rifles, and let's say you're clearing an abandoned building as your training exercise. What do you think would be some good standard operating procedures for that?
Have well if for entering a door, obviously having people on both sides. In case when the door opens, you're facing it at like both angles, so you don't get a surprise and you don't get your entire teammates killed. And making sure you're going through every. I'm just gonna say every detail, just for the sake of this conversation. Like if you're clearing a house, checking everything under every couch, every room to make sure there's no surprises. Because if you don't, you, you get your friends killed, you get everybody killed, and your training failed you. Or like you didn't get enough training, so to speak.
I think those are all good starters. Personally, like this is me. This is a mix of several different training and mentors and fields I've been in. But I think the best way if you're gonna clear a building, you put someone with a DMR on the rear. Um, let's say it's a open door situation and you know which way somebody ran in. That's going to be the main entry point. The rear is going to be where you put the DMR or the sniper or somebody basically long range that can put them in a sight. And if somebody pops out and tries to escape, they pop them. Um, I think you send in a group of, I don't know, let's say 3 people. You have one person guarding the rear, and you have 2 people splitting up and clearing sections. So you have that one person that's guarding. They're covering everything that isn't a sector that the people are focusing on. And then the 2 people that are focus mode, you have one person in a hallway and one person in the room. And you break it down into wings. Like if it's a school, um, let's say it's a school broken up like by grade. It's like the Gold Ranger from um, Power Ranger Zeo. It's like the Red Ranger from the original. He's got that symbol. It's almost like an E that has the prongs slash branches on each side, like line,
Uh,
line, line, and then a vertical line through it in the middle.
yeah,
Okay, let's say it's shaped like that. So it's one single hallway with 3 hallways on the left and 3 hallways on the right. Treat those as wings. You have one person in the middle. That's your third guy. He's watching everything. Um, then you have one person who watches the hallway, who's basically watching it while this other person goes into rooms. They can leapfrog, which makes it easy to swap out. So one person's in a room. While that person's in the room, that next person advances. Then when the other person comes out, he hops behind him. Next person goes into the next room. Like that's a really easy way to do it. Again, this is all like perfectionists and all personal preference, but I'm gonna get into the main point after this, and I'm gonna ask you what the main point is before I say it, because I think you're gonna pick up on it, or you'll at least know it when I say it. Um, and yeah, that other guy's just watching everything else in a very like broad sense, and you have that fourth guy on the outside in case somebody peels out of the area that they didn't go into. Everything's secure. Like literally, there is no situation where you're not gonna see a bad guy if they pop out there. But
yeah,
again, that's all me being perfectionist. The main point is here, um, everybody's got to be on the same page. Like if everybody knows that, it's a great strategy. But if different people have different ideas of what they're doing, like if those 2 guys leapfrogging don't realize they're leapfrogging, and the next guy fucking goes across to the left, like let's say they're doing the diagonal zigzag and they're leapfrogging rooms like that. Let's say this guy's just going up on the right side and thinking the other guy's got the left side. He's doing that. The other guy's not being guarded. That hallway's exposed. Like it all comes down to different ways of doing stuff presents different ways of getting killed. Say that again. The more different ways you have of doing things presents more different ways to get killed. If
yeah,
everybody's on the same page and it's a logical plan, there's no issue. And that is what I think happened with the Trump situation. You have 3 or 4 different agencies all working together, probably no communication. They probably use different codes. Like I don't like I guarantee you that the Stadies probably on super militant 10 codes that don't match anything that the feds know. The feds have keywords and code names that the fucking stadies don't know, and it was probably a fucking mess. Because even if somebody's telling him that somebody's on the roof, do you know that he said that, or do you know that he used a code? Like, again, I'm not saying anything wrong happened. Obviously, something bad happened, but I'm not saying anybody did their job wrong. But if this was an issue here, it presents a challenge of not having standard procedures and a challenge of having an empire at the end of the day that has gotten too big without too many checks. Like, it's. I'm very pro everything should be one big department slash agency. I think everything should be standardized. I think that's the best way to do everything. Like everybody has one set of rules. Like whether it's we call it the National Guard or whether we call it the FBI, or even if there's one domestic and one foreign, because they're never going to cross paths if something drops domestically. Foreign guys aren't there. If something drops foreign, domestic guys aren't there. Some way of splitting it up to where different agencies aren't working together. Or at the end of the day, we just need standardized communication. I don't know. What do you think is a fix for this in the future? Like, there's a rally, something's happening. You're the event coordinator. You're the special agent in charge of that city. How would you fix the problems that you saw here, just from your experience?
Obviously, I don't have as much experience in this kind of stuff as you do, but from a outside perspective, so to speak, I would obviously have at least some kind of training. Make sure when you're going through the plan, the detail, make sure everybody that's getting part of it is in the room, knows what's going on. If they don't like it, they can get out. You know, like make sure again, like you said, make sure everybody's on the same page. Teamwork is key. Get some training in because clearly.
Your mic died out on you. You there?
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good, man.
Did none of that come out?
No, you said teamwork and training is important, and that was the last thing I heard. But go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I won't even cut this out. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So, if I'm in charge, the first thing I'm doing, holding some kind of training, at least a little bit of training, making sure everybody's on the same page, making sure everybody knows what the plan is. When you have a detail, you're doing a briefing about this kind of thing. Make sure everybody that's going to be a part of it is in that room, knows 100% what the plan is, knows all the procedures, knows everything. And if they don't like it, or they might have some gripe or whatever with whoever you're protecting, get them the fuck out of there. Find somebody that's willing to do their damn job.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think that's obviously the way to do it. But no, that's another thing I want to get into. Like, in terms of organizationally, like as we move forward, again, like I said, we have some militia goals. We want to train men how to be tactical in their neighborhoods, protect their families, protect their communities. We're under attack. There's invaders all over the country. There's violent demographics that aren't being stopped. And there's the incel problem, as we went over in the first episode. There's a group of young men who genuinely see no purpose in life, and because of this, they're violent and want to commit acts of terror at the end of the day, is what we're going to call it. You need to be equipped. You need to pretend that this, or stop pretending that this won't happen to you. It will at the end of the day. There's too many fucking people out there, and it's just growing. Like, I forget what the study was, but I know essentially it boiled down to like 30% of men under 30 haven't lost their virginity. So the more bitter they get, it's 30% of dudes. Like, you really gonna fuck around with 30% of guys? That's 1 in 3. You see 100 people down the street, that's 30. And most people you see are under 30 in public. Let's be honest. Like, people with families and shit don't go out anymore. They know how fucking bad it is out there. Like, they'll go to, like, the zoo and shit, and that's all you'll see them at. Everywhere else, it's all under 30s. Like, it's not good out there. And we want to raise community support, because at the end of the day, we both believe that this U.S. experiment isn't going to last. Trump getting in might change it. And when I say the U.S. experiment isn't going to last, I mean our current form of the U.S. If Trump goes in there and gets all like Caesar mode, which as another topic I want to touch on tonight. Um, Things will get better probably, or things will get worse, but things at the very least will be different. And this current laissez-faire government has no power, but then government does, and corporations cancel you and shit. That whole society we live in, we need contingency plans on that. And the way to do that is building strong roots in your community, forming groups like militias, forming activism groups, whether you support candidates in your area. Local candidates do the most work, believe it or not. A lot of people don't realize that. They're just like, this is some little office. What are they going to do? They can change your tax brackets. They can have the city give you better tax breaks. They can have the city give you surpluses. They can look at grant money for people who live in the city. Like, it's a smaller pool that only benefits you, and you need to look at your local government because that at the end of the day is the big thing. Like sheriffs, for example, a lot of people don't realize this. If you have a sheriff, he can basically say, I'm not going to enforce that BS. Like a lot of sheriffs during COVID went, your mask mandate isn't happening in my county. Like in an entire county, they have that power. And people, they don't even know their sheriff. Ask somebody tomorrow, if you're listening to this, ask them who the sheriff is in their county. They won't be able to tell you. I almost guarantee it. And they're important.
I don't.
And most people don't. I wouldn't feel bad about it. Like, it's not something that you're told. Like, there's no educational system in this country. So when people aren't awake and people don't understand what's going on, I don't fault them for it. I try to help them because I never got that help. I had to figure it all out by myself. If I had someone like me telling me how to do things and how to progress, by the time I was my age, I'd be a fucking king, dude. Like, it's I wouldn't be on the struggle bus at all, and it's sad how people are out there. Like these incel types, like I want to reach a lot of them through the server too. That's another thing. Like I want to find these guys when they're like 20 and hopeless about shit. I was talking to a couple of them earlier like that, and I want to try to bring them into our server, teach them about the gods, have them have pride in their heritage, pride in themselves, pride in what they do. Um, which I want to touch on a couple of the posts, and then we'll get into the Empire and stuff, like Roman Empire, Caesar, Augustus parallels to Trump and Barron. What did you think of the last few posts? I want to know your opinions. Which posts that I've sent out there on both accounts have you, I don't know, related to the most, thought about the most?
Honestly, I've had a really long week. I haven't been on Instagram all that much, or any social media for that matter. And when I am, I kind of admittedly just mindlessly scroll through it. But that's definitely on me.
You know what, dude? Like, I don't fault you for saying that. I appreciate the honesty. Do you know how many fucking people would fucking pull out their phone, go to Instagram, and look for the title that catches them the quickest? Like, I appreciate the honesty. No, but I'm gonna go over them quick then, since you didn't see them. There's just three, I believe, or there might be a fourth on Sons of Neptune. I was mainly posting on Nova Roman Revival because I had an old account. It was a former Turning Point account. Um, Me and my friends, we took over the Turning Point chapter. We realized Turning Point wasn't cool because they're very pro-Israel, and if you question Israel, they want you gone, and that isn't conservative, and that isn't freedom-based. That's fucking fascism. So we were out of that. Um, but no, I did a post on Testament to the Trident on Sons of Neptune, but obviously we've talked about that here, and we already talked about it this episode. So I'm going to go over the three that I did. So, go over it with you, go over each slide, and then ask your questions. We should be through each of them in like five, and then we can go into American Rome and how Trump is Caesar. No, I did the importance of the warrior priest, why modern men have evolved into soothsayers and savages. So basically, with this one, um, I think the fall from grace in men have been religions like Christianity that tell people to be peaceful and not to be masculine. Emasculating social principles like that preach turn the other cheek, don't do anything in advance, be the bigger man. You hear a lot in schools. Like they're taught in schools now. If you get into a fight, you're not allowed to defend yourself anymore. You get suspended too. It's disgusting. Like, did you ever? I know that was coming in like right around when we were both in school. Like that's when it was changing. Like, did you ever run into that? Did you get into a fight and they suspended you for defending yourself or anything? Or
Well, no. For me, like growing up, I was always told, oh, if you're getting bullied or somebody hits you, you can't defend yourself because then you're gonna be the one that gets suspended. And I, admittedly, like I was always the super quiet kid, and I kind of just let it happen. And when I, told my mom, she blew up at the school. They would say they did something, they never did. It was just an endless thing, and I never was taught to defend myself, and I never did.
Do you think part of that is why we have the incel problem? Like, you have guys that never learn how to say no to people and never learn to stick up for themselves, and they end up in this area where they can't even attract a woman anymore. Like, do you think that plays right into that?
It's got it, 100%.
I fully agree. No, yeah, the soothsayer and the savage, it's exactly this concept. So the soothsayer is the hypocritical smooth talker who is not into doing anything actionable. Um, they're degrading to society. Um, they don't really want to fix. They just want to talk and they want to have esteem. There's nothing of substance to them. It's very much like your TV preachers. You have them talk about things. They want your money, yada yada. They never do anything. They just want to talk and get rich. And Nietzsche, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know anything about Nietzsche. He talked about
I don't.
the Ubermensch. That's the ideal man. It's someone who's strong and like principle and strong and like physically. And I think the whole idea of Christianity and other religions and other like liberalism like Christianity, because at the end of the day, Christianity is the advent of liberalism. That's why it was pushed so heavily in the New World and in countries, because they realize that if you have a society that's based on freedom and forgiveness, people will do everything within a matter of 100 years, and that's where we're at now. And it's sad to see, but the other one is the savage. These are people. It's the other side of the coin. They're faithless leaders with no moral compass, no line in the sand. They're willing to do anything, and they don't fear repercussions because they don't have moral standings. This is like your Stalins. So Stalin, I don't know if you know this. There's a famous photo of Stalin that got changed about every 5 years. Because every 5 years, someone in the photo with him would disagree with him on something big, and he'd just have them killed, and he would Photoshop the photo to not have them in it anymore.
I didn't know that.
Dude, I'll have to send it to you. It's fascinating, but no, that's your Stalins of the world. So you have your smooth talkers, your like American politician preacher type. A lot of like rhinos, like conservatives are like that too. That's why Constantine, as much as Christianity is a liberal religion, I'm gonna give him this. He did a post on how Republicans are slowly going to the left. That's the soothsayers. They do not fight. They just say things and they let things happen. They're like the kid in school who lets themselves get bullied, but these ones are smooth talkers because obviously we're talking about high value people here and how they've become the two. Low value people are neither. Um, and yeah, they're the equivalent of that. They just let themselves get ran over and bullied, and nothing changes because of them, except things get more liberal. Things don't change for the better, I should say. But no, we have them and the Savages, and I had a call for a return to tradition because that's my big pattern on this Nova Roman Revival channel. Everything ends in how we need to return to tradition. Roman society was the peak of human achievement. The gods that are worshipped in Greek and Roman society is the peak religion. It's what we promote here. Um, we're gonna get into that in the next post on why that's important. But for now, um, men need to be brought up in a system that encourages masculinity and encourages worship in a way that isn't feminine, like a lot of Christian worship is. We need to be told that our strength is a virtue. European virtuism is what we should strive for, not Christian morality. Christian morality is all about turning the other cheek. European virtuism is all about being strong and having a good reputation and being great. That's that. At the end of the day, it's you need to be great, and you know when you're great, and you know when you're weak. It's something you feel, and we need to get back to something that we feel and not something that a priest tells us what to do. You go to a priest, they'll tell you to apologize for being white if you go to the right church now. That's what's going to happen with the Abrahamic faiths eventually. Every single church you go into, it's going to be like, oh, why are you white? Please apologize for being white. Or please apologize for voting for Trump. Or please apologize for telling your wife to not get an abortion. Like, it's going to be that That's all it's going to turn into. And we need to be strong in our masculinity, put our foot down, and stick to old school European virtuism that makes us stronger as a people, as a society, and as family men. The next one was Under the Guise of Guilt. Again, a lot of the same topics about how guilt steers modern morality through that religion. But this one touched upon the, as I call it, snake oil stoicism. You're going to relate to this a lot. I'm not going to mention why, but you'll know the second I mention it. Basically, the supplement culture. The people selling supplements, workout routines, pre workouts, other things that are in that same market that are sold together like that. A lot of it's scam. Like, at the end of the day, a lot of it's sold and they know it's a scam. They know it's just shit that's going to make your heart explode. I used rhetoric in here. I was like, um, it's not going to fill the hole in the heart. It's just going to make your heart explode. Because there's men out there who are crying at the gym, listening to Sigma grind music, while they fucking drink a whole fucking container of pre-workout stuffed into their water bottle, just fucking hitting PR after PR, slowly killing themselves on this fucking caffeine addiction they've now developed. Because that's what it is. It's a snake oil salesmanship. Like, have you gotten into the whole Sigma grind culture on that? Like, have you fallen into the trap of going on your villain arc and working out every day and buying
I
supplements?
will say, I've gotten close to that, but for me, I go to the gym because I just want to lose weight. I want to look good. I want to feel better about myself. In a way, like I know that sounds kind of beta-ish to say, but I
But it
haven't
doesn't. Like,
liked.
that's again, like, that's the, you need to like stick to European virtue. You know it's good, it feels good, then do it. At the end of the day, that's what it should be. Do what feels good to you. You know when it's right, you know when it's wrong. There's nothing more obvious than when a fucking gay guy talks to his dad, and you can see the mutual shame and disappointment in both of their fucking eye contact and both of their voices, and it's clear, like, you know what's right, you know what you're supposed to do. There is common sense, as much as people don't want to tell you there is. Like, you're working out because you want to feel better and look better. That's, again, part of the whole virtue Europeanism, or virtue Europeanism, if I can talk today. Couple of brewskis in helps me do this. Not talking as smooth as normal, but at the end of the day, that's the key. You're doing things that are obvious. You're doing things that make you feel good, look good, think good. It's the good, the beautiful, and true. The Greeks had this idea of logos. That is the logos. It's what's good, it's what's beautiful, it's what's true. It's very obvious to you. And a lot of Christianity has tried to adopt this theory, but at the end of the day, their morality doesn't, it's not congruent with that. They shame masculinity. They shame, like, if you kill someone for committing a horrible act, it's considered a grave sin. In European virtuism, that's heroism. And that's something I'm going to get to with my Trump post, the third of the three posts, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on shame-based guilt, religion, morality, all that stuff? Like, I know you tried with the whole Catholicism pill thing for a while. Like, did you feel the guilt that they talk about Catholics feeling when you tried with that, or?
Honestly, no. So a lot of people I've talked to aren't religious at all, and they're the ones that kind of would shame me for trying to change myself, this, and that. For me, like Catholicism, like it was a way for me. I don't want to say an escape, but it helped me find a better purpose. Help me like direct my life better, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Like, I get that. We all went through that path here. Like, obviously, I was Christian for many years. I went to Catholic services because the Christian churches in my town had fucking BLM flags and protect trans kids flags, and I'm like, okay, the Catholic Church is a cult, but at least they're gonna give me a service that isn't liberal as fuck. And then about 2 years ago, I found paganism, and I realized it's actually what we feel inside. I know we were talking about this. It's, again, it's my last slide on the second of the or the second of the three posts, but I'm gonna verbatim quote from it because I think this is perfectly written. This objective feeling of excellence weaponized as a form of worship can make a man an unstoppable machine. If you have a virtue based God and you have virtue based religion and culture, and it's not all the shame, like, I need to live a good life, it's I need to live an excellent life, it changes things. Like, you can look at playing chess as a way of honoring Athena, you can look at cooking as a way of honoring Demeter, fishing as a way of honoring Poseidon, jujitsu as a way of honoring Ares, good parenting even as honoring Hera. Like, if you look at every aspect of your life and how can I make this excellent and which god can this venerate, it makes you happy. Like, when it comes to God, like, we were talking a little bit about because when the Christians left our server, as you saw on my social media, I went pretty hard on them for like a couple of days.
Oh yeah.
There's a passage, Luke 14:26. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yeah, and his own life, also he cannot be my disciple. Threw in the LA Knight, yeah, there. And sisters, yeah, and his own life also. Um, but no, like, it's all about this shame fucking like ideology where you must hate yourself to love me. And I don't know if you've ever been in a toxic relationship, Mr. Exalted, but
I
that's a
have
toxic
not taken.
relationship.
Yeah.
You need to hate yourself to love me. Like, Jesus Christ. No wonder all these Catholic guys are so sad and depressed. Like, I need to do no fap in order to venerate Christ. Like, if I jerk off
Yeah.
today, God's gonna cry. Like, fuck, dude. It's fucking painful. Like, I get it. Like, don't jerk off all day. But, like, if you can't fucking focus, and it's something that you need to do, obviously, if you have a partner, that's preferable, but if you're gonna be one of these no-fap incels that climbs on a roof and I'm not gonna even say anything more, like, maybe just beat it to fucking calm down a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
but no. The third of the posts, obviously, I did a little fucking homage to the Roman Empire and Trump. I made him look like a Roman painting and put him into the fall of Rome. Symbols of heroism. This is, I think, the most important thing because all of these posts have somehow tied together. I think it just has like the overall logos of the movement together. I'm really loving how everything's kind of telling a unique story. Like, the first post we have why somebody needs to have both faith and strength. They can't just be like this weak priest. Then the next one's all about how you can't guide through guilt and how you have to guide through strength. Again, using that strength through that priesthood. And then the third one's hero or symbolism. Fuck, I sound like Joe Biden right now. The third one's symbols of heroism, and how important it is to have symbols to look up to, and not guilt-based cults at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't go into anything religious with this one, even though there's obvious ties to my previous posts, but I basically went into the fact. This is the important stuff. It's just really the last slide. Friedrich Schilling had this idea that art is the best way to understand philosophy. There's a big idea in philosophy, too, that a religion is a nation's understanding of philosophy. So if art is the best way to understand philosophy, and religion is a nation's understanding of philosophy, then art of a nation itself is religious, if you follow the logic there. So that photo of Trump, the main point here, that photo of Trump is basically a religious icon. It is as powerful as Christ on a cross in front of the altar. And it's why Trump's going to get a huge red wave. There's a chance, I'm not going to say every state, because obviously I don't think he's going to win California, but there's a chance he wins like 30 states. And Biden only wins 20.
I could see that happening.
I think Trump is for sure winning Michigan and Pennsylvania, and those are the big two that are like he's winning Pennsylvania. He got shot there. Like, that was the big swing state. He's winning there. Like, no one is fucking voting for that when they fucking know this like, they just lost all their support there. And Michigan, I don't know if I've touched on this on the show. I think I have. Michigan has a high Arab population, and that high Arab population is sick of Biden's war in Israel, backing IDF and whatnot, attacking the Gaza Strip. And as much as Trump is also like very pro-Zionist, whether he's doing it to get elected or not, he's not the one actively bombing them. And it doesn't take them voting for Biden to lose. It takes them just not voting for Biden. and they're traditionally very Democratic in that state, and they've been about like 5 to 10% of the voting population for Biden. So if he loses 10% of his vote, he's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
So I think Trump takes the Rust Belt like that, and that's how he wins the election. And it doesn't matter if there's a red wave. I think there's going to be a red wave, but that's really all he needs. And he had that
Yeah.
before the assassination attempt, and now he has it in spades. So. But yeah, perfect transition for our last topic of the night. Roman Empire, America, Julius Caesar, and Augustus. How much do you know about the history of Rome?
Very little, although it has fascinated me a lot. I've always wanted to learn more about it.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a video on it. It's literally just a summary of Roman empires, or Roman emperors and the Roman Empire, I should say. There are little like empires within it, like the Byzantine and the pre-imperial and the imperial and the post-imperial, but I'm not going to get into that today. I'm just going to talk about the parallels that people are making between Caesar and Trump, and then Augustus and Barron. So Caesar was obviously assassinated. I know you know this. Like Ides of March, you learned this in school. He got stabbed by a bunch of senators. Brutus, et tu, Brute, yada yada. Um, People are comparing the fact that Augustus, who was Caesar's true successor, saw Caesar, and I believe he was an adopted son. I don't think he was a natural son. But either way, a son-like character sees a father-like character get killed and or almost killed by his political opponents after trying to save the nation when he didn't have to save the nation. Augustus basically came in when he eventually got power, and he's the person that like made Rome fully imperial. He like went in and went like, we're just gonna be like full fascists now, and like you're not gonna have rights if you're gonna fucking disagree with me. And a lot of people are saying that due to Barron's upbringing, like this was a 10-year-old kid or 12-year-old kid, and they were telling him like they want to see him get like raped in a cage and shit, like back during the 2016 election. He gets all
I
that shit
remember.
when he's growing
Yeah.
up, and then he sees his fucking father shot in front of him when he's a fucking young man. I'm not gonna say a boy or anything because he's fucking 7 foot tall. He's a fucking Nephilim. But like, what this must do to somebody's psyche, like this dude's gonna run for president. He's gonna be in politics. There's no like this Trump brand is not going to die. I think we might see like a Don Jr. as like a Mark Antony like character, where maybe he has like a tragic downfall, but he doesn't really do a lot. But then I think Barron's gonna come in after Don Jr. keeps up the Trump name, and the same way you see like a lot of grandchildren being true successors to their grandparents, and like success and greatness typically skips a generation. That's just my own personal opinion. Because Trump's kids are so far apart, I think Barron will be like this skip in the generation, and we'll see like Don Trump basically, and when I say Don Trump, I mean Junior. We'll see him come in, not be as successful, maybe be like a Bush to an HW Bush or something, or actually better, an HW Bush to a Reagan, and then you'll have this dude come in and be like the second coming of Trump. And I think he'll actually, because he's online, he plays war games. Like they've been over this. Um, he's gonna come in and do some great things, I think, and I hope he does, and I hope he makes the changes to America that I want to see. The more traditional, the more nationalist, the more government can be good if it's run right and if it's run traditionally and it's run with logos. But I don't know. What do you think about this? Like, do you want them to make these big changes? Do you think Trump's going to make these big changes? Do you think things are going to just be run of the mill with Trump again, or what are your thoughts?
I think Trump is going to attempt to. Things will get better, at least somewhat more traditional, but I just don't see that happening for a very, very long time.
No, I think that's fair. Like, I think when it does happen, it's going to be quick, but I can see it taking a long time too. I really think that 2028, like I've said this probably since 2012. I just saw like this is me being a fucking smart teenager. I saw it when I was watching the Romney and Obama debates. I'm like, if things keep progressing the way they are, we're only going to have another like 4 election cycles. Like those debates were professional, but you can see the obvious cracks in it. You can see the obvious cracks
Yeah.
in that like campaign and how things were starting to get dirty and underhanded. And then 2016 came, and then 2020 came, and now it's 2024, and exponentially getting worse. Like, I think the next election's the last election, if we even get there. But I think we'll get to 2028. I just think whatever happens is there's gonna be a big change.
Yeah. I would like to think that, it's going to take a while, but I would like to think people are going to come to their senses and finally, like, the way things are going now, with how the debates are going, they're gonna be like, okay, this is fucking crazy. Like, we got to go back to how we used to see it. I would like to think that's how it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why we're planning our little community. Like, we're gonna have our own. We're not gonna like oppose the government or anything, but we're not gonna need the government. That's the whole point of it. Like, obviously, like everything law abiding will still be maintained through us because I don't believe in opposing a government here in the state of. It's just a dumb idea. Like a lot of these people are like, we need a revolution. I don't think we need a revolution. I just think we need to present an alternative and like lead by example by creating strong families and strong communities. And then within 2 generations, when our people get into office, when they have money and power, they can be the ones who make the change overall for everyone. But no, I think we need to change the fact that America is a Christian country. I think we need to change the fact that America is an urbanized country. I think we need to change the fact that America is no longer a white country, and we need to get to a point where we are a fucking Indo-European country that has left Europe because Europe has fallen, and we are here to make changes overall that are better for the people here. And we're not going to have these fucking invaders take over and give us a country where trains derail because people shit on the tracks. Or porno is all over the internet because people that subvert us and hate us are allowed to be here. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think is the biggest problem in terms of all that? Like, do you think it's the porn and sexualizing a culture? Do you think it's the third world invaders? Like, what do you think is your biggest issue in terms of everything that's going on?
Uh, it, what the porn, like the whole porn thing, like it's twisting everybody's minds. Like, I mean, I don't want to say I'm going to be ashamed or not ashamed, but like, everybody has watched it. Like, when they're young and curious, and it just twists young people's minds and turns people into incels and makes what it. So I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I feel like you kind of get where I'm heading with this.
I get what you're saying. Like, I think, and again, when I was saying like, um, earlier, the whole like, um, just jerk off, don't do no fap. Like, I'm very much against porn. I'm saying, in terms of like the response to porn, it's very much like this is not a weapon; it's a test from God, and we must avoid it. No, it's not a test from God. It's not anything like that. It's people trying to subvert you. And countries where they don't let this happen, there's just not porn, or they block it. Like in China, it's just blocked, and they don't have incels over in China. Everyone's just successful there. Like, we need to stop looking at it like it's some cute little like test, and like we're in the Bible and it's the Book of Job. We gotta resist the porno. That's how we win. No, it's a weapon. Start calling them out. Start saying they're fucking 2% of the population, and they're all of the fucking producers of the shit, and we're not gonna fucking take it. Leave. Fucking stop. Stop giving them money. If you're watching porn still, you're giving them views. And if you need another reason to watch porn outside of just like its subversive hats, know that the majority of the women on it are either trafficked or sexually coerced on set through the use of drugs and alcohol. Like it's literally you're just watching people get raped. And if you're okay with that and you're okay just beating off to that, go watch your Marvel movies, go watch that, and go fuck yourself. Like, we don't want you in our country if you're gonna be a little fucking subverter like that. If you're gonna just take the platter the hack gives you, we don't want you. Go away. Like, you can die in your basement. Like, I'm not even worried about them either. I'm not gonna get angry about it. They're not going to reproduce. These people who are fucking incels in their basement, it doesn't matter. We need people though that are reproducing and that are high status. You need to be your best selves. That's how we really get over this. Work out. Like, obviously, both of us have talked about our workout journey here. I'm trying to put on muscle. He's trying to lose weight. We're both kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum there. Neither of us are ideal, but both of us are working towards it. I think it's Plato that said, I'm getting this completely wrong. I'm just going to say it's Plato and go with it. Don't shame anyone for making progress, even if it's slight progress, if it's consistent. If you're making consistent project, even if it's like a pound a month, it's progress. Don't shame someone for that. If you see a fat person running at the gym, don't go, ha ha, fatty. Make fun of the person who's not fat and not at the gym. That's what we need
Yeah.
to subvert. Like, we need to change this culture to that. Like, we're all working together.
Uh,
As long as you're not some fucking invader that we don't want here. As long as you're a fucking European and you're down with fucking conservative living. And I'm honestly gonna say paganism at this point because I don't know if you know the. Do you know the root word of paganism?
I no.
So paganism is a Christian-made term to make fun of the religions that weren't Christian at the time because basically crazy. You're gonna think this is fucking nuts, and I'm excited to blow your mind with this. Christians were the Democrats of Rome. They came in and they changed things, and they said, "Oh, you pagan basically means redneck. Pagan means of the urban side of the country, of the not city, the uncivilized rednecks. Basically, is what pagan means." So if
Oh,
you're a conservative, red-blooded American, and you have European blood coursing through your veins, and you hate these fucking city dwellers, you hate these fucking people that want to put kids on hormones, you hate these fucking people that are subverting you with the porn, you hate these people that are just trying to change common sense living and hate excellence, then you're pagan. Pagan is of the urban land, or of the rural land, not of the urban land. If you're of the rural land and of the countryside, and you're not down with these fucking cities and down with these pride flags at your church, then you're a fucking pagan at this point. Because the new Christians, as I call them, these liberals, because again, Christianity is a liberal religion. I'm done saying that it's not, because it is. It's the same thing happening again. The same thing happened in Rome, and Rome fell because of it. They rejected their pagan roots, and it fell. And I don't want to see America fall because we're rejecting our redneck roots. And I don't want to call myself a redneck because I'm not necessarily a redneck, but I'm proud to call myself a pagan. And a redneck, that's a term for a farmer at the end of the day. Like, I'm not from the American South. I didn't grow up farming, but I am of the country. Like, that's I'm not going to get into geolocation or anything, but that's the vibe I
yeah.
play with. Land, homesteading, chickens, grow your own vegetables. That's the way out of this. So, if you're going to be holier than thou and ask your priests what you should do instead of looking to yourself how to be excellent and looking to ancient wisdom like the gods, because at the end of the day, that's all in your head. You know what it is. If you need someone with a special hat, whether it's a big white one or a small black circle, you're fucking gone. You're already lost. But we're hoping to save people here. And if you come join us, if you come be a really cool pagan, you come start communities, you grow your own shit, you fucking buy chickens, you get off the system, and you try to free yourself, actual freedom, not red, white, and blue on 4th of July, but actually freeing yourself from this bullshit system that's been corrupted by hats, you're going to live a lot happier life. Your family's going to love you more. And unlike the Bible, you should care about what your family thinks. You should care about being excellent yourself. Not what society thinks, not what the cities think. You should be pagan. Any closing thoughts, Exalted?
Um, no. Any kind of like lingering thoughts I had, you kind of pretty much already said it.
Yeah, I'm kind of fired up tonight because a lot of people, like, obviously it's because of our little infighting we had in the server for a minute, but a lot of people don't see the same trend that happened in Rome. And, like, because we're bringing up Roman trends, because a lot of people talked about Trump being Caesar, I thought I'd bring that up. Like,
Yeah.
if you are a redneck, if you are a Republican, whatever you are, you're a pagan at the end of the day. You're the same blood. You're European. You came from the Indo-European tribes that make us up. I don't care which one of them you worship. I don't even care if you're Christian, as long as you're not judgy about it. Like, join our movement. Pick a patron god, because again, our patron gods. You fucking if you like fishing, pick Neptune with me. If you're a fucking blacksmith, pick Hephaestus like Exalted. Like, pick whoever. Like, hell, if you like chess, pick Athena. If you like anything that has to do with anything, there is a god for you. You can use the iconography, and you can show people that are ashamed of saying the word pagan that you're of the countryside, you're of your roots, you're of your blood and soil, and you want to create a country that is for you and not for these invaders. And that's at the end. That's all it is. It's finding excellence in yourself because you believe in yourself because you want a nation of yourself.
Good words.
Yeah. Do you want to? I know we talked about that everybody's picking their own patron now, but do you want to pick about like how Hephaestus called you at all, or?
Um, for me, you kind of brought up the really good point. It was like, you know, it's born, kind of like I still don't know much about it. I only saw like a quick, 5-10 minute video. But the way what you kind of told me is like you you are constantly torn down and you're trying to like pick yourself back up. You're working hard. You want to like make everything overall better. I think that's kind of what you said to me. I think we talked about it over the phone. I don't remember
Yeah, you're
exactly,
talking about the
but
hard work
for me,
aspect of that you liked of them.
yeah.
No, and yeah, you mentioned the whole like broken down because I know you had a hard time growing up. Like people around you were tearing you down constantly, and there's some myths of Hephaestus where his legs don't work and he uses his anvil to stand up. So basically, he's like propping himself on his arms and maneuvering around the anvil, sometimes holding himself up with one arm while he hammers a sword with the other. Like I've liked the endurance and the hardcore against odds like that, and it reminds me of you. That's why I suggested him for you.
And I'm glad you did because the whole culture, like the everything, like we kind of been talking about in and outside of this podcast, like it's been really interesting to me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go into mine a little bit too, but I'm gonna ask you here this first. It's gonna seem larpy at first. I don't expect you to do it like right away, but have you tried praying at all the gods? Like, have you tried doing any rituals or anything? Like, I understand it's real
Uh,
weird to do at first, but
no, and even though like I've kind of just more recently been getting into back into like the whole Catholicism thing too. I've never really prayed. I've just kind of believed. I know that kind of sounds like stupid, but that's just kind of how I've always operated.
no, I get it. Here's what I'll tell you. So, like, I prayed to Neptune slash Poseidon, however you want to call them. The Greek and the Roman gods are the same. Um, our server roles, it's blank slash blank. Like, we let you pick that as a group. Like, I like using Neptune because I think it's a more phonetically appealing name to me. Um, and I tend to relate more with the Italian Roman side of Europe than the Greek side. Um, but either way, I was in a situation the other day. We're not going to go into it much, but it was a high stress operation based situation. And I prayed to Neptune because Neptune, I don't know if you know this, is the god of chaos too. Water kind of represents chaos because it can take all forms and it flows into things instantly. Like water is the physical elemental manifestation of chaos. That's why I chose him because I have a really chaotic life. I have a lot going on personally, professionally, all my side things I try to do. I'm constantly trying to I have this moniker with myself, conquer chaos. And how I conquer chaos is just going head first into it, and sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. I prayed to Neptune for guidance in this chaotic situation, and everything went flawlessly, and I got an award over it. So that's the first time I've ever prayed to one of the old gods, and I'm gonna keep doing it because the results were there. I felt it, and unlike when I prayed to Jesus, where it felt like I was confessing, it felt like I felt like I was asking for help, and I actually got the help. It wasn't like, "Oh Jesus, please forgive me. I touched my penis today." It was, "Give me strength in this time. Let me conquer this chaos, Neptune." And it fucking happened, and it worked perfectly. And like, I think when you're working hard and you need motivation, next time you're feeling like stressed at work when you overworked yourself, do a quick prayer to yourself to Hephaestus and see the results, and I think you'll like them. Because obviously, like, I'm not going to force you into anything, but as you journey down the religious journey of your life, I guess you can say, I want you to try everything, even if it feels LARPy at first, and pray to Hephaestus,
Yeah,
see
no,
if you feel anything. And if you do, like,
yeah,
which I think you will, like, I'm excited for you because I think it's gonna work out.
yeah, and I hope so too. Because I will say, like, you again, I've said multiple times, I'm Catholic. You know how like my upbringing about it, and like, but I like to say I keep a really open mind. I'm always open to new ideas or like looking from the outside. If that makes sense.
No, I get it. Like, and I say this too, not from like a subversive perspective, but I think if you were happy with whatever you were in, you wouldn't be looking elsewhere. And that's something I can now look past or look back on as a former Christian of like 10 years before I converted. Because I was about, I think it was like 10 years on the dot. Like, around, yeah, it was just about like 2013. Between like 2012 and 2014, I like converted. Like, I became born again. Because I grew up in a very like non-denominational household that didn't really stress anything. So then I found Christ, quote unquote, when I was like 12 to 14. It was a lot of it was the election cycle at the time. I just went. I wasn't big with the whole something with gay marriage. Like, ate at me. Here's the comments. He's gay. He's gay. That's why he doesn't like gay marriage. I don't care. Um, it was just the idea that I know you need a male and a female influence, and it was actually my obsession with true crime documentaries and people from broken homes or people from homes where dad wasn't around or mom wasn't around, and what that did to their psychology. I'm like, wait a minute. If they get married, why would they get married unless they want to adopt kids? They're gonna adopt kids, and these kids are gonna grow up and be fucking fucked up. And we're starting to see that now. There's fucking trans kids, and people are fucking going on HRT at like 12 and cutting their dicks off at like 16, and it's fucking depressing. And I think that's what really woke me up to it was the worry of that, like the worry of what's gonna happen to our posterity if you allow this kind of thing. And no, I was into it. I was very guilty for those like 10 years on and off. Whenever I was motivated, it was over a girl. It wasn't over God. And I dropped that in 2022. I was religion shopping the way that you are right now, and I went to like a Satanist thing, went to a couple other pagan things, and I fit the most with the Indo-European stuff. Like if you go to like a midsummer or like a Yule festival nearby you, this is to you, this is to everybody. You'll feel like you fit in, and there's something special about that. I never fit in with Christianity. I never fit in with Satanism. I never fit in with um, other forms of religion. Whether it was, I looked at the Quran a little bit. I didn't look at Judaism because it's literally just evil. The Talmud is evil. I don't know what else to say. It was literally invented as a reactionary to Christianity, and it's just all about hating people. Like, it's disgusting. It has no part in society. It should be banned as a book. But no, like as you shop, like I just hope you do some rituals that are more ancient, and I think you'll feel due to like its timeliness and how old it is and how special it is, why it has gone through the test of time and why people still talk about the Hellenic gods and why they actually teach them in schools still, believe it or not. It's kind of my long-winded way of saying that, but yeah, I wish you the best of luck with that on your journey. I don't know if you want to like if you want help like scheduling stuff out because I'll be fair with you. I'll tell you how to do stuff like Christianity wise too, just so you have the best pick of things. Um, but no, like if you have maybe put away a day a week to worship the old gods, put away a day a week to worship the Catholic faith, and see which one draws you more. Pray to both.
Yeah, no, I think I'll start doing that, and if I do end up, wanting or needing your help, I will definitely reach out to you. But for me, I think I need to do this alone.
No, for sure, bro. It's definitely an on your own journey. But I know a lot of people need guidance during it. That's why I offer the help. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
I hope it goes well for you. I hope you find whatever peace you're looking for because your life is pretty chaotic like mine sometimes, and there's not a lot of not to get like too down and dirty with it, but it doesn't seem there's a lot of like peace, and I want that for you.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, with that, I think at an hour and 15, we can call this show a show and head on out. Maybe talk a little bit more off camera and let the people get back to whatever they're watching besides this.
Sounds good.
Any final words for the crowd?
Uh, no, I'm pretty out of it. I've had a really long day. Anything from you?
No, man, I'm the same way. Like it's been a long, busy weekend. I've been cleaning almost all of it, and yeah, I'm trying to get everything done on my off days. You know,
Yeah.
it's how the struggle works. But no, I hope everyone that watched this enjoyed it. We have some new social media to plug, so I'm gonna read out those accounts for anyone that finds us through this. I doubt it's a lot of people, but I bet a lot of you come from the Instagram. That's where most of the traffic is. Our Instagram is Nova Roman Revival. Nova like Super Roman, or sorry, Nova like Supernova, Roman like Roman Empire, and Revival like Creedence Clearwater. Nova Roman Revival. Go to our X account. X account is going to be New Roman Revival. Nova Roman is too many characters. You do New Roman Revival, it's just enough. So New like New Age Outlaws, Roman like Roman Empire, and Revival like Creedence Clearwater. That's our at there. Both accounts are posting some great stuff every day. Hope you guys follow. Hope you guys engage. We have some new people funneling in through our new people chat. We'd love to see them on the show. But again, like we have a very strict verification process, and people aren't going to be allowed on the show right away. So we've made our members back from our little Christian schism, but we hope that everyone here that's new ends up staying and ends up being on this because this is a lot more fun when more people are talking and a lot more insightful to see different POVs, which is kind of why I was disappointed to see people go over just being Christian. But, but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the listen, and we'll catch you guys 2 Sundays from now. Peace.